yourself on your ability to be a coach every day, selling yourself on the ability to help people to change their lives, especially when they have some major challenges. And as they tell you about what they're going through, you might have a conversation within yourself saying, why are you still living? Because there's some people that's dealing with some heavy stuff. But the only way that you can speak with a power of conviction, the only way that you can go up against the stuff that's going to come up in your life. And why? What are you talking about, Les? See, we give a message out of our mess. When you decide that you want to change people's lives and help them to deal with and to cope with the circumstances that they find themselves in, life's going to take some shots at you to see whether or not you are the message that you bring. Life will test you. My goals have changed. This stage of my life is about reducing the number of women who die from breast cancer. My mother died of breast cancer 7 years ago. Changed my life. 5 years, 9 months ago, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. My goals have changed. My goal is to reduce the number of men who die from prostate cancer. How many of you here over 40? Raise your hands, please. I encourage all men here to get your PSA test, if you haven't done it, and your digital rectal examination. One of the things I think doctors should never tell someone that they're terminally ill. What they should say is that my knowledge and ability to help you has terminated. Now you need to turn to a power greater than yourself to help you through this experience. And so I encourage men to get your prostate examination. My goal is to reduce the number of men who die from prostate cancer by encouraging them to go get their tests from the stage. I got my test after I heard about General Norman Schwarzkopf and Arnold Palmer, the golfer, and Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte. I was on radio in New York 5 years ago. And so I decided to go to the doctor to wage a campaign to make men aware about how important the test was. And the guy said, have you ever had the test? I said, no. He said, you need to take it. And then he called me and said, hey, Mr. Brown, you might have saved your own life. You have prostate cancer. Changed my life. Never been sick, wasn't showing any symptoms. Changed my life. Had 238 radiation seed implants. Changed my life dramatically. And I'm here because of God's grace and mercy. At this stage of my life, it's about training and developing kids. My life has changed dramatically because of the relationships of people that coached me. Mr. Leroy Washington, my mentor, who I will be with this coming Tuesday in Miami, who now is 83 and just been diagnosed with prostate cancer. I'll be going with him on this coming Tuesday for his examination to look at the medical options. I'll never forget when I met Mr. Washington. I was in a special education class. He was a substitute instructor. He said, young man. I said, yes, sir. He said, go to the board and work this problem out for me. I said, I can't do that, sir. And he said, why not? I said, well, I'm not one of your students, sir. I'm supposed to be in here this afternoon. He said, look at me. I said, yes, sir. He said, go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I said, I can't do what you're asking me to do, sir. And he said, why not? I said, sir, because I'm educable, mentally retarded. And as the class erupted in laughter, he came from behind his desk. He looked at me to record. He said, don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that was a turning point in my life, Ron. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is, it only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. And so that became a coaching, mentoring relationship because I was never mainstreamed. I was never one of his students. So I came after school, and he took the time to help coach me through a period to help me to begin to believe in myself at a time that I was struggling. I never knew what it was to have a father. Father's Day came around. I gave Mama a Father's Day card. My mother raised 7 children by herself without a man around. Mama had only a third-grade education, but she had a Ph.D. in motherwit. So I really admired my mother's courage, her faith, her tenacity, her determination, and most of all, her commitment to us. And so every day, I had to sell myself on the things that I wanted to accomplish because I wanted to make something of myself. I wanted to make my mama proud. I used to have a talk show, and I would end it by saying, this has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. And I'll never forget the producer say, why do you do that? Why do you say that? No one does that. I said, I don't care. I said, my mama is everything to me. I wouldn't be here if my mama didn't love me. You know, I saw a sign once that said God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. And so I felt, after seeing my mother on her knees scrubbing floors on Miami Beach, cooking food for families, keeping their children, I said, if this woman getting up in the morning, legs swollen, we always knew when it was going to rain. She said, oh, Arthur's bothering me. I said, Mama, who's Arthur? She said, boy, you live long enough, you'll find out. She's talking about arthritis. And Mama would go to work, knees swollen, ankles swollen, iron clothes, cook, hurting, in pain, sick. Sometimes we didn't have enough food. She would make sure we ate, even if she couldn't eat. And I just admired her. And I said, the least I could do when I become a man is to take care of Mama. And that was the goal I had. And I had to convince myself that I can do it because of the fact that I had so many people telling me that I was a loser, that I'd never amount to anything. The people that you're going to be coaching live in a world where you're told more about your limitations rather than your potential. So it's not an easy thing to help people to believe that their dreams are possible. I want you to write this down. Why your work is important. Number one, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Most people never achieve their goals in life because they don't know that they don't know and they think they know. Most people don't achieve their goals in life because of the fact they're suffering from mental malnutrition. And as a result of that, that creates an opportunity for you. What we achieve, what we produce in life is a direct result of our growth and development as a person. When you leave here as a result of the training and the ongoing training and coaching that you receive from GSI, you will never be the same again. You're going to grow by leaps and bounds. I remember I was speaking in Orlando, Florida, and one of my former classmates was there. He's working in the cafeteria. And he heard my voice coming over the PA system. At the end, he came out into the parking lot and said, Leslie, I can't believe it's you. I said, hey, man, Jabbo, how's everything going? He said, great. And then we talked for a little while. And as I was walking away, he said to the guy that he was working with, he said, man, he said, I can't believe it's the same guy. And I want to go back to him and say, the guy that you once knew no longer lives here. Yeah, I might be the same physically. I know I look younger because of the fact that I use Clairol to cover my gray hair to help me retain. And I use waterproof mascara, too. Let the record show. A man has got to do what he's got to do. I'm real about this thing. I'm just going to tell it to you plain. You know, I'm not, you know, they say money change. You know it doesn't. I'm a person, when I ride in a limousine, I ride with the window down because I paid too much for that car for you not to know I'm in there. Oh, talk to me. So, oh, behave. Okay, I told them to give him a medication. They wouldn't listen. They'll listen next time. All right, now, so you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Here's something else, ladies and gentlemen, that's so very important for us to look at in the coaching process and helping people to change their lives, and part of what you're going to be coaching people to become. As you look at your dreams and look at the things that you want to achieve, not only must you believe that it's possible and that you sell yourself every day on that by reading, by listening to tapes, by meditating, by praying, and by raising the bar on yourself, by challenging yourself. Why is that important? Write this down. In order to do something you've never done, you've got to be someone you've never been. So the coaching program that you're engaged in with GSI, the curriculum, the certification, the master coach's curriculum, the whole course is designed to help you reinvent yourself. You'll be a different person leaving here than when you came in. You're going to be ahead of the game. You're going to be heads and shoulders above and beyond your colleagues in this industry. You're going to have a competitive edge that they don't have because they weren't here and didn't have the same level of commitment and did not have the same standards for their personal growth and development to serve the people that you have. Here's something else. Write this down. Hold yourself to high standards. When I decided to become a speaker, I looked around and I traced all of the different speakers, bought their tapes, bought their books. I developed a library. I studied them. I studied their work. I looked at the industry, just like you. I wanted to know, what is it that will set me apart? You got to ask yourself that. hold yourself to high standards and ask yourself the question, what is it that sets you apart from everybody else? What will be different about you? What is unique about you? There's no saying, do not go where the path may lead, but go where there's no path and leave a trail. Write this down, reputation. When people are in a coaching relationship with you and they're around their family members and friends or their associates, what will the scuttlebutt be about you as a coach? What will your reputation be? Would you be a person that they know that's a person of integrity? Would it be that you are knowledgeable? Would it be that you're a person that's patient, that's compassionate, that's understanding, that's a good listener? Some coaches do more talking than they do listening. And they don't care, your customers and your clients, as the saying goes, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So what will your reputation be as a coach in the industry, among your clients, among your customers? What is it about your personality that will keep them not only continuing their relationship with you, but will refer other people to you? What is it about you that will cause them, if they have a 3-month or a 6-month or 1-year contract with you, what is it that will make them come back to you and say, you know what, I need some more time with you? What is it that will make them extend their relationship with you? What is it about you that's going to be so different, so unique, that you've created such a need for yourself that they know that you are invaluable in their life, to their family, to their career, to the results that they want to produce in their life, to the goals that they want to reach, that they have envisioned for themselves? What is it that you're able to draw out of them that they didn't even know was in there, that you saw through your perception, through your commitment, through your listening, through your working with them, and exposed them to a part of themselves they didn't even know was lying dormant in them, to release what Elizabeth Browning called the imprisoned splendor? Repeat out to me, please. Live full and die empty. If we had this meeting last year, my closest friend in all the world, Alexander Wims, we called him Boo. Boo would have been here with me today. He probably would be seated right there or right here, watching me, taking notes, giving me feedback, Ron, after my presentation. Boo and I met in the 2nd grade. We thought we would grow to be old men together. Boo died from complications of a liver transplant last year. There's no greater love between two people. Everywhere I went, Boo was there. He was quiet. They say still water runs deep. He had my back. I talked. Boo watched. He observed. He checked the room out. He told me things I didn't want to hear, things that I needed to hear. I miss Boo. When I was leaving the cemetery, a lady approached me. She said, Mr. Brown, I know this is a difficult time for you. I know you and Boo were very close. I said, yes. She said, you mentioned in your book and on your tapes on numerous occasions that Boo was a great cook. I said, yes, he was. Oh, boy, when Boo cooked, you couldn't eat his food quietly. You have to make noise when you ate Boo's food. You would grunt and say, ooh, Boo, that's something special there, Boo. Or you had to kick your shoes off and wiggle your toes when Boo cooked and you ate his food. She said, you mentioned several times that you and Boo were going to collaborate on writing a book that contained his secret recipes. I said, yes. She said, did he write the book? I said, no. She said, ooh, he took that with him. He took that with him. If you died today, what will you take with you? Miles Monroe, great preacher in Muhammad, said the wealthiest place on the planet is not in the Far East where there's oil in the ground, It's not in South Africa where there are diamond mines. He said the wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery. Because there you'll find leadership we never had exposure to. There you'll find music never played. There you'll find skills, abilities, and talents that never came to fruition. Perhaps that's why the poet wrote the words, many a flower has bloomed unceasingly and wasted sweetness upon the cold desert air. That many a talented and gifted persons have gone unnoticed, and the world never had a chance to be exposed to their genius. Live full, die empty. What is it that caused most people not to live a full life? Someone said that many people die at age 21 and don't get buried until they're 65. What is it that caused most people not to live a full life? That creates for you the opportunity to coach them through it. Number one is, write this down, fear. That's what stopped me from doing what I'm doing right now. Could have been doing it over 30 years ago. But the fear of failure, the fear of success, here's something else, not feeling good enough. I used to say, well, I don't have a college education. I would look at Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Zig Ziglar and Dr. Wayne Dyer and Leo Pascalia and Dr. John Bradshaw. And I would say after seeing them, I would be motivated and fired up and excited. And after hearing Jim Rohn and Dr. Dennis Waitley, I would start going to my car, and my mental conditioning would say, Les Brown, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les Brown, you can't do that. You're not rich. You're not wealthy. You're not successful. What makes you think that you can do what they do? You're not an author of any books. You don't have the four-color brochures. You don't have a staff. You don't have the money. You don't have the contacts. How many ever thought about something you wanted to do and you talk yourself out of it? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. There's an old African proverb that says there's no enemy within. The enemy outside can do us no harm. So my fear of failure, as well as my fear of success, if I made it, I probably couldn't handle it, I told myself. And not feeling good enough, not believing in myself, putting myself down. Shakespeare said, the fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlings. So what is it that we have to begin to do? Mr. Washington has said, Mr. Brown, I said, yes, sir. You want to be successful? I said, yes, sir. Write this down. He said, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. Want to have a breakthrough in your life? Want to do some things that you never thought you could do? You want to challenge yourself and stretch yourself? You must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. Want to confront your fears and overcome this lack of not feeling good enough? What is it that most people won't do? Write this down. Make discipline a major force in your life. How many of you know that had you been more disciplined, you'd be further along than where you are right now? Raise your hands, please. Socrates said the undisciplined life is an insane life. I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you have made the right choice by being members of GSI. I can tell you I am Exhibit A. I am an example of the value of coaching. Because of what Mr. Washington did for me, if both my parents came up here right now, I would not know either one. But because of his coaching and because how he changed how I saw myself and how I viewed my circumstances, no one could have told me, and I can tell you, it is so glaring. I just had this conversation with my twin brother. And I look at our lives, and the difference between Wesley and I is coaching. Wesley didn't go to the class that day and meet Mr. Washington. I did. Wesley did not allow himself to be the beneficiary of the coaching of Mr. Washington. He didn't see the need for it. I did. Isn't it interesting how two people, and perhaps you might have had this experience, you have any brothers or sisters, born in the same circumstances, raised in the same house, by the same parents, being dramatically different. Have you ever noticed that? Here, my brother, we're 5 minutes apart, ladies and gentlemen. And the difference is the coaching. The difference is that what I got from Mr. Washington, the relationship that I developed it with him, the same kind of relationship that you have with Gary, changed how my life has turned out. No one could have told me, and the people who know me, including my twin brother, we're on the phone talking the other day as we're preparing for a family reunion. And I said, you know, why is it every time we get together and we get in a conference call, the buck stops here for me to finance our getting together? And so my brother says, well, because you always listen to those stupid, dumb tapes and read those dumb books. Oh, and now y'all want to borrow my dumb money to sponsor the family reunion. I don't think so. Bye. Boom, hung up. They call back, we sorry. I said, say it with passion, we sorry. If anybody had told me, given my circumstances, born in an abandoned building on a floor with a twin brother, adopted at 6 weeks of age, being labeled educable mentally retarded, failing twice in school, no college training. If anybody had told me that through the coaching relationship with Mr. Leroy Washington, that over the last 23 years, I've earned over $34 million. Let me tell you something. $34 million, a good God and a healthy hog, and you can make it through the winter in California. Do you hear me? That I produce 5 specials for public television. I have 3 books, Live Your Dreams, It's Not Over Till You Win, and Up Thoughts for Down Times. That 7 years ago, I had a nationally syndicated talk show that I was paid $7 million for in advance, which was the highest rated, fastest canceled talk show in the world. Well, at least I had one. If anybody had told me, anybody looking in on this lady who had a set of twins in an abandoned building on a floor while her husband was away in World War II, if anybody told me that my life would turn out like this, ladies and gentlemen, I would not believe it. Sometimes I pinch myself. I was in London 3 months ago with my oldest daughter. We spoke there for around 10,000 people. It was translated into 7 languages. And as we were walking down the corridor of this historic place where we were and saw the pictures of Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald and Les Brown and his band are renowned. And I said, wow. I said, baby,